A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
At that time, Jesus told his disciples a parable. Can a blind man lead a blind man? Will they not both fall into a pit? A disciple is not above his teacher, but everyone, when he is fully trained, will be like his teacher. Why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, "Brother, let me take out the speck that is in your eye," when you yourself do not see the log that is in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take out the speck that is in your brother's eye. For no good tree bears bad fruit, nor again does a bad tree bear good fruit. For each tree is known by its own fruit. For figs are not gathered from thorn bushes, nor are grapes picked from a bramble bush. The good person, out of the good treasure of his heart, produces good, and the evil person, out of the evil treasure, produces evil. For out of the abundance of the heart, his mouth speaks. The Gospel of the Lord. Have you ever picked a piece of fruit right off the tree and bit into it and enjoyed it right there? There's something that seems almost magical or even miraculous about it. This tree that was once just a seed, slowly becoming a sprout, growing and growing until wondrously fruit appears on its branches. And then one day, you reach up to the branch, you give a slight tug, and the tree releases a luscious piece of fruit. When I was young, growing up in Wisconsin, it might have been the golden red, crisp apple like this one, or a beautiful pear like this one, plucked from the neighbor's tree, with permission, of course. Or when I went to Panama and lived there 16 years, it might have been a juicy orange plucked from the tree. Whatever type of fruit it might be in that moment, when you're able to pick it right there and enjoy it, you are struck by the pure giftedness of it all. A gift from God. Nature has provided you with a wonderful food that not only nourishes you physically, but delights your soul. It's nature's normal course, but it feels special. It feels like a special gift. Reminds me of the lyrics from the musical Showboat, which you may have heard. Fish gotta swim, birds gotta fly. We could add, trees gotta bloom. Sometimes we like to make distinctions between ourselves as human beings and the rest of the natural world, but our readings today point out clearly we, like the trees, are known by our fruit. By your fruit you shall know him. And the first reading from Sirach astutely observes the fruit of a tree shows the care it has had. The fruit of the tree shows the care that has been put into it. So do we. as human beings. The fruit that we bear show the care that has been put into us. Not only the care others have generously given us, beginning with our parents, but also the care that we have put into ourselves, in cultivating ourselves, cultivating our souls, our hearts, our spirits, so that we may grow big and strong and bear good fruit. And by pruning, by looking at the mistakes that we have made and growing from them, an interior life, a spiritual life, help us to become the person that God intends us to be so that we can bear great fruit. By your fruit you shall know them. By our words reveal what is in our hearts. We gradually learn by cultivating our spirits, our hearts, our souls. We learn not only what to say in all manner of situations, what not to say, but also important when and how to say what we believe, what needs to be said for justice, for forgiveness, for reconciliation, for charity, for encouragement. We learn these things by cultivating our spiritual life. Sometimes we like to put limits or expectations on what kind of fruit we think we should bear. We tell ourselves all kinds of things about who we are, what we should be, what we should do. But God has destined us to bear fruit naturally if we become the persons that God has intended us to be. And He plans for each and every one of us to bear great fruit. Sometimes it might be a big fruit, the biggest one I could find in the refrigerator today. I couldn't find a papaya. Sometimes we're called to bear big fruit and have a very big impact on another person's life, or do something courageous and valiant. But many times we bear small fruit. That's perhaps even more important. Most of the time, it might be something small, almost overlooked, a simple affirmation offered to another person, or a small, unseen act that nobody knows about to help the daily life of your family member or co-worker or neighbor or parish church community. These are all ways we bear fruit, and each is meaningful in its own way. The scriptures today remind us that through it all, one of the most important things in order to bear fruit is to stay rooted in our relationship with God, and we will bear much fruit. If we cultivate these good habits of prayer, of reflection, especially during the Lenten season that will soon be upon us, to reflect upon our lives, why we say the things we say, why sometimes the things we say are not good fruit but bad fruit, and we look into our heart and we prune ourselves. We let God prune us and prune what's in our heart so that they be good hearts, so that good words come out. Let us remain attentive to the interior life, to our relationship with God. And eventually we will be very surprised by the fruit that naturally comes out of us, the good fruit that helps others, affirms others, encourages others, show your love and God's love for others by simply being ourselves, like the trees that bear good fruit. God has destined us to bear good fruit.